What's up? Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Just lower this music here. David, good morning, bud. How are you doing? Hope you enjoyed that Spanish cookie commercial. Dr. Feelgood, what's going on? Good morning, good morning, good morning. David, always spilling your coffee. What's up? Hope you guys can hear me well. Today is the day that my AirPods decided not to work, even though they worked yesterday and the days prior. So here I stand, being thwarted again by technology while I'm trying to use technology to run a morning show. What's going on, everybody? Happy today's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day, as people like to call it. May 14th, halfway through May. Wow. Okay. Time flies, man. My family is off to the races, getting towards the end of school, the end of soccer season. We had a game last night. Man, it was so cold. I don't know. California, I'm sure everyone else is dealing with something a little different. Yeah, why don't you stop playing with your screen, huh? But man, we're going through like a little bit of a chill, a May chill right now. It was so cold last night at the soccer game. I was wearing Under Armour, sweatpants, three different, you know, upper shirts and sweaters and what have you, and like my thermal beanie. It was wild. Yeah, and that's the weird part is like a week or two ago, it was 95 degrees and the air condition was pumping and we were sweating. So I don't know what's going on in California or the rest of the world, but yeah, it was pretty wild. So it was tough-ish to enjoy the soccer game, but it was still a lot of fun. Watching him run around, he's getting more and more confident. He's having a good time. One of the things that I love about last night, well, there's a couple of things. So one thing was, the other team, uh, like our team is not like the good team like whatsoever. We have a couple of good kids, but not really. They're kind of, yep, exactly. Sirens driving by. But when the other team scored their first goal yesterday, like it was very much there was a celebration on the other team, and then Bentley looked at me and he just like gave me a thumbs up. So like he didn't care, his team didn't care. Like there was not anyone crying. It was cool to see. And then the other thing I really liked was our coach was at Disneyland, I think, probably one of his other kids or something like that, or a family thing, but he wasn't there. And so another parent stepped in. And then more importantly, the coach on the other side, the other team, he was a really great coach. He was very engaging with both teams. He was very much, because they're 6 year olds starting. So he was very much helping both sides. Good morning, Ryan. And
Good
I thought
morning.
that was really cool of him. What's up, bud? How you doing?
We got team sports. We got what's happening there?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just talking about Bentley's soccer game last night. So it's the second to the last soccer game. The last one is on
Mm-hmm.
Thursday. So this is, this was one of the weeks that I knew was coming up where it was going to be a very demanding week on my schedule because I want to be at all these things. So
Yeah.
I'm actually driving home every night this week.
Ooh.
Because Bentley has, Monday we were in Palm Springs coming back from our trip. Tuesday and Thursday are his last two soccer games. Wednesday
Yeah.
tonight is Bailey's swim banquet, like the end of the swim season party. And we actually got invited this year by our daughter because last
Hmm.
year she was like, no parents are going. Um, and it was awkward because all the parents went except
Oh
us.
yeah. Okay.
Uh, and then Friday, obviously, going home Friday because it's the end of the week. But yeah,
Gotcha. How does that how does driving back and forth like that is that
it's the
affecting you in
worst.
any way or no?
I hate it. So
Sure.
it's the worst thing ever. But I figure like 1 week, like there was a time where I did it every single day, like when we
Oh.
first moved out there for like almost 2 years. And
Hmm.
then, it started to get to me a little bit. And so Amy gave me like the all clear or the push to like spend a night, once a week. And then once a week became, 3 or 4 times a week. Now I think it's down to 2 times a week. But yeah, I can't wait to get back to that schedule. And I will once the kids are out of school, like these next 2 weeks of them being like I think it's this week and then next week is their last week of school. So
Hmm.
depending on how many how many events happen next week that I need to go to, like there's going to be like Bentley's graduation from kindergarten to first grade. Um, for sure, I know that. I don't know that there's any more because I don't think the girls really have anything.
Yeah.
But I'd like to be there for last day of school or something like that in some
Sure.
way, shape, or form.
Dylan, looks like Dylan's trying to kind of do something similar. He's talking about moving his family closer to the shop. What is it? What's the shop? Just remind me, Dylan. Um, do you have
Yeah, because he commutes every day.
he does, okay.
Yeah, I did the opposite, Dylan. I moved my family further away from work, and it's yeah.
Do you have any tips for him? What would you say?
No, I mean if you can do it like 100%, like do it. Like my problem is like I like the work that I do is in an area that like I cannot afford whatsoever right now.
Hmm.
And it's also like it's like the kind of money that like no one should spend on a home or a residence. So like my wife is I told her I'm like, so if I magically like start making all this money, would you ever move back? And she's like, no, I would never want to waste all that money on a house. So it's
Mm,
more of like me trying to figure out how to do different work, I guess. Hour away, I do
interesting.
food service equipment. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you like I said, if you can live where you work or work where you live, obviously that's the choice, right?
Yeah, for sure. That is it's a my thought on this is that it has to be a lot. I know that there's been moments where there was one moment I turned down like instantly when someone had offered me a job out at Stanford for a sports dietitian position. They're like, "Yeah, we'll move your family out here," and then they didn't string me along. They just thought that I was going to accept the offer they gave me, which is like ridiculous. And so it was, and I told them, I turned them down instantly. And I said this, I said, look, I understand you're trying to hire a second person for this position that you're trying to fill right now. You need to take this money and you need to give all of it to one person to actually have a living wage for a family. Like this is
Yeah,
ridiculous. So they were basically trying to just, pay two people when it was like that doesn't make sense. Like you're
pay two
really
people
trying to
one
kind of
person's salary.
yeah, it was just like it wasn't fair. What's up, Jason?
Good morning, guys.
Um but
Morning,
yeah,
buddy.
that's I think the thought of like being okay, I want to move you all this to a place because it's my job. And then it's like it's just a lot on your shoulders, like, emotionally and physically. So I'm sure that's just a big decision. Yeah.
Jason, I didn't get to ask you how was your bus ride with all the girls.
The bus ride was it was really nice. It
Yeah,
was not as loud as I thought. It was a great soccer day for the girls, for the parents. Uh, Grateful for Coach Steve for putting it together. Um, Soccer travel was something we did as kids. Did not did I mean I wouldn't say it was like it was mostly like I just remember like heat because it was a summer and kind of rushing around. And I think this was a good way to introduce the girls to travel soccer if that's something that they want to do. But
yeah.
I digress. What are we getting into, guys? I only caught the tail end of your conversation.
Travel soccer is a lot, by the way. I think it's a big discussion right now in terms of like having your kids. We don't have to go down this tangent, but yeah, the idea of taking a lot of time and putting it towards that sport and then thinking about what it could take away from. I think it's I've been hearing the discussion more and more, maybe more so than even when we were kids. It was like, no, you sign up for as many teams as you can. You just do it. So but yeah.
Um, Yeah, good times. And then Mother's Day. How was your Mother's Days? Dom, how was your trip?
It was good. Yeah,
Were the moms,
we had a blast. The moms all had a good time.
you guys sufficiently kept the kids busy, kept their drinks full?
For the most part, yeah.
Well done. Well
Yeah.
done.
Yep.
Just chugging handles of vodka at the pool. That's all he was doing, basically.
Oh yeah, just kind of bringing coolers of vodka with you, I think is what I heard.
Yeah. Shenanigans, you know. I mean, I knew it when I was walking into the thing. I'm like, I put it on like the other side of the cooler so they wouldn't see it as I was walking in. But yeah, this manager was doing a patrol. I should have put a towel over it. I don't know. It's like I'm only going to be there for an hour or two. You know, is it really going to happen? And then I forgot to tell you guys the thing that one of the funny things that happened, right? So you know, like, well, maybe you don't know, but like we're there with you know, 4 families, right? And so kids never want to get out of the pool, but like parents are like, okay, we're all dressed, we got to do all this dry off, change of clothes, finish packing the car, and then drive home to then unpack the car to prepare for the week of work and school. So it's always a difficult task to get the kids out of the pool, like especially all of them, so we can all leave at the same time and say hug and not do like the Irish goodbye kind of shit. But like as we were starting to do that, so like maybe a third of us were out of the pool and doing all that stuff. Some other kid, let's just say it's another kid because none of our kids claimed it, took a little poo in the pool, and so the staff had to clear the pool, and so it just made it really easy because every kid had to get out for 30 minutes.
Mother's Day over.
Yeah, it made it very easy for us to yeah, Code Brown, exactly.
Everybody gotta get your kids out. Just drop them and
Drop a
just
Hershey
dump
Kiss
it.
in the deep end.
Hey, Dr. Feelgood, where's campus? I'm curious. And is this campus? Is this university or is this medical campus? Curious about that. Guys, can I share? I feel like I'm coming in at like a 3 today. Coming in at a 3 today.
Ooh.
Definitely -9.
The tough one. -9. -9 is a tough one, man. I'm sorry.
No, 9
Jeez.
minus. Sorry, not -9. 9 minus. Not 9 plus.
I was like a -9. You should be on the floor right now.
Everything's terrible. No, I'm not a 9+ day today, for sure.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I texted the dudes here. Had a tough evening. Just some things I realized, some regrets in terms of parenting, where it's like, oh man, did I not steer the boat the right direction? And I think it's showing right now. So
Yeah, Ryan, tell us about that, because I'm glad that you were open about it, just about how you were feeling. And I'm usually looking at the bright side of things. And well, how about go tell? I'm going to stop talking now. You tell what you were going to say.
Have you guys ever watched ESPN? Did you watch what was that show called, Around the Horn? Have you guys ever watched that?
No.
So Around the Horn, is this show, and it's now canceled. But it was the only reason why I would ever put on ESPN. But it was nice. Basically, they would bring up like topics, and there was like a guy. He was the host. Anyone on the couch? You guys watch Around the Horn? And so this guy would they would have conversations. They have topics, and on the screen it would show like different topics within the sports world, and then some things that were outside the sports world. But they would kind of bring it up, and there would be a certain amount of time that they would be able to talk about certain topics. And so the host would just give arbitrary points for things, but like the goal at the end of the whole thing was to like get as many points. But points could be deducted if you said something stupid or if you were just like talking without like purpose. And it was more funny than anything. But it was like, you know, it was a good show. Sometimes I wish we could do that here. It'd be fun. I muted myself, Jason, yesterday because I felt the same way. I
heard you, and it's something that I kind of do. I feel like sometimes I start rambling when I feel like I'm trying to make a good point, but the words aren't matching. That's what
yeah. That's just how our brains work sometimes. Anyway, just, you know.
How about you, Dylan Ray Turner? Do you do that? Is that a Turner thing?
Probably. God, we have to do it. Isn't that just what, like, sometimes that's my way of brainstorming. Dump it and then put it together once it's out. But then again, I also grew up with a speech impediment. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah,
that's
it's
the issue.
dumping, but it's like it gets stuck, which is a terrible combination.
Yeah. Oh, David, that's actually really funny. I'm not actually laughing as much as I think that's funny, but that was a really quick line. I now think that you're more intelligent just because you've said this joke. No, yeah, you know what? It's just a simple thing. Yesterday, I think a few things where around like food stuff at home, it's like, okay, we will feed you, like, as we explore different foods, I will give you the things that you feel most comfortable with, and then it becomes harder to eat different foods. And then certain things around, like, you know, reading at home. Okay, let's figure out the reading that you're comfortable with, but then like we'll keep guiding you here. And so, you know, my daughter would choose certain books that she was just a lot of the things I think have just been very comfortable and kind of allowing to explore, which I think is still right, like the general kind of idea of it. But last night, I know that I was here by myself. And so, you know, sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder with two parents. But I had said something to the girls like, hey, guys, let's make some dinner. I'm doing a little bit of work in the back, just in the room. And so it was something where, you know, my girls weren't hungry. They said, I'm full. I was like, are you full or are you just not hungry right now? Like, I know you're going to be hungry later. They're like, no, like, we don't want anything. And I was like, oh, okay, that's totally fine. And so our big thing is like we eat dinner, like we feed our body, we eat food for our muscles, we eat food for our brain, like all this kind of stuff too. We are supposed to kind of empty our book bag, you know, take out your lunchbox, empty the lunchbox, do your homework. Like, is there anything else around the apartment that is like yours you can clean up, right? Just all the tasks that you could do. And I think, you know, last night was just like, it was a little bit of like being taken advantage of. It felt like it for a moment. And then it was a little bit like, okay, my kids are 8 and 4. They're not going to remember everything. Like, we have to guide them. But then like I found out that like my daughter, who always asks to go like hang out with her friends first before anything else. I'm like, wait, hold on. Before you go out and you go see your friends in different apartments, did you do X, Y, and Z? Right. And then a lot of times it's like, no. I'm like, okay, well, we got to do those things. And so I kind of asked her those things yesterday, and she kind of said yes, but didn't really do them. And then she came back like, you know, we always have like a goal, like be back before 8. And if you want dessert, you have to be back before 8. Like, don't come in after 8 o'clock and then ask for dessert. Like, you just have to plan that. And so she comes back at like 8:50 or 7:57 yesterday. And she's like, all right, Dad, I'm home. Sorry, I'm like almost late. Can I have dessert? And I was like, wait, hold on. We didn't even eat dinner. Like, what is it that, like, you said you weren't hungry? She's like, oh, well, I ate dinner upstairs at a friend's house. And I was like, wait, what? You said you, like, what's going on right now? And so it was this, like, I know that might seem like a small thing, but to me, it was like, wait, you said you weren't hungry, but you went somewhere else to go eat dinner. Like, in my mind, I'm like, wait, what was going on in an 8-year-old's brain when they had to go do that? And then the idea of like, wait, why are you just coming home to ask for this? It's just all of these little things, like, were just in my mind, like, why did I set it up this way? And it just made me feel like a failure as a dad in the moment. And then it was like, okay, something's wrong, something's amiss. And so just a lot of like self-doubt in the moment. So I don't know if anyone else felt that way or feels that way. And I know that my story might not really match up with exactly like how it actually happens here, but just a tough moment. It was a tough moment. And then it was just kind of like we're going to start doing hard things kind of conversation with the kids. And so still kind of within that energy. That's all.
Do you think that you might I mean, I enjoy that you give your kids lots of choices and you're guiding them through making the choices to get the things that they want. And you're giving them freedom to do the things that they have to manage. Do you think that the options that you're giving them make more work for you? Because it sounds like you give them options, but then you are also giving yourself a bunch of stuff to manage and check in on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I think part of parenting is taking on the tasks, right? And I think that there is definitely a tipping point where it is too much. And I think last night it was a little bit too much. And I think it was something where I realized that I don't think I set them up to be able to be resilient on their own to kind of do these things. Like, if you think you're just going to go, you know, yes, I think that it is. I mean, really, what my foundation is always going to be trust, right? and hopefully like trust in terms of like, I'm going to trust you. I have a decision. I have a decision to trust you or not trust you. And my decision is to trust you. So if you do something, well, then that's because you made a decision that I know is going to be right, or it's going to be something that you needed to do, and that you can come to me if you need something else. And like teaching moments all within there. But yeah, there definitely are things that I now have to check in on, but that's also in my mind, that's part of parenting. Like we do these things to then kind of check in on them. Like we give them tasks like, okay, go fold the laundry, like that kind of thing, right? Well, I'm going to have to go check the laundry and it's going to be horrible, but it's also teaching them to do the laundry, right? Or, so to me, it's not a negative thing. I know you're asking, I don't know if you were thinking it was a negative thing, but
No, it's not negative. I would say if there's anything that makes giving kids that much autonomy, it might be almost like choice overload.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely.
And then you end up having to wrap up all those choices instead of making a 1, 2, 3 step plan. Like if you want to go play with your friends, do these 3 things first.
Yeah, that's what we do.
And I've done that with my students. Like I've had students, like I have one class where it's like I put out a bunch of projects and they get to choose like a few of them to do. And some kids love it. And then some kids are like, this is too much. I have no idea where to start. Even, like 7th and 8th graders. So that might be something that's kind of because you get the blowback from that. Then you end up having to take on the choice making and deciding for them what to do. Because sometimes students just need, and kids sometimes they just need like a path, like one path, controlled choices, not the entire buffet.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think something to know on. So I'll take it. Thanks for that.
We got 5 minutes to talk about the reading
already.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I know that went quick.
Jeez.
Compete on this, right? How do you guys feel? How do you guys feel that you do or don't compete, or that your kids do or don't compete? Like I feel like my family, like we don't want to, but I still feel like we really do. I don't know if it's me. I can't tell, but I know my kids do, especially within each other. Especially, yeah, definitely within each other. And I think they try to tell us that other kids have it differently and, why they want certain things. But I think we've kind of squashed that a little bit. And now it's more just within the walls of the family. And I think the hardest thing is because of the big age gap between the kids of Bentley and Brooklyn seeing the things that Bailey gets to do, whether it's just going out with friends to late at night, or having that freedom, a little bit more freedom, and then even sometimes Brooklyn competing with Bentley because Brooklyn competing with the other two kids because they don't have as much homework as she does. So she seems to be a little bit more restricted in what she can do free time wise because she has so much homework that she needs to accomplish. So that's where my mind went with this reading.
I'm with you, Dom. Like between like families, no, I don't think I can't really think of any situations where we've like competed to, I don't know, for whatever it is, bragging rights or giving kids the coolest experience. I don't think that's really a big part of our lives. In fact, reading it, I maybe there's been like once or twice where like I felt I was being flexed upon, by dad or a mom. And I can't remember it. I just kind of remember the feeling of like, oh, this is kind of gross. I really don't feel like like, whipping out our whatever measuring contests with what we're doing. And that's not something that I would enjoy doing either. I know there's people and dads and moms that do like to do that. And then there's people who consider those people the Joneses to keep up with the Joneses, but I don't really think that's a big part of our lives.
I'm always thinking about how the kids are thinking about competing, and if they need to kind of who they're looking up to or who they feel like they have to keep up with. I definitely feel like the keeping up with the Joneses with the parents is one thing. I'm always curious how kids are kind of taking that in. Here, I know we have like different schools very close to each other. And then I hear how some kids are progressing in like different areas of education versus like the school that my daughter goes to. It's just a little bit different. I'm always curious how they're kind of thinking about it. If they need to compete or they want to compete, or do you have kids that are competitive?
We have one kid that's competitive.
And competitive, is it like jealousy, do you think? Or is it more competitive like we're all going to win together if we push each other?
No, kids don't think like that.
I think, but some kids I feel like do, no?
Oh yeah, I mean some do.
Yeah, there's
I would
three
say
of
like
them.
my oldest is probably more competitive for competition's sake, but not really in like those weird financial ways, like noticing bigger cars or like noticing bigger houses or whatever. I mean, I would say the things that the girls notice is like when like other families go on trips, we don't do a whole lot of like big trips, which is something that I want to do more, but it's not because it comes from a place of competition, just of experience. I mean, Ryan, I know that you are like your kids kind of go to a school where it sounds like there might be some of that stuff going on, where like parents might compare and do like kind of flex on each other a bit. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're wrong. But it's because it's not in the school. It's more about like the community because there's different schools around. And then it's like right now, I'd say like because it's still like it's like second, third, fourth grade. But definitely, I think that it will be something that as the kids get older and kind of get into like high school and I guess more middle school here too, because it's like, where did you apply? What did you get into? And it's like, I think it becomes something where, I think the questions could be like, did we put our kids in the right school? Right. Like we aren't sending our kid to the neighborhood school. We're sending them to the district school that's across the street from us. Right. So it's still in the neighborhood. It's all kind of weird. But yeah, New York is definitely a different animal. But I think we feel safe within the school, but I think like once we're outside of the borders of the school, I think that's definitely where it could, but right now, no, but I foresee it maybe being something for sure. So I kind of wish we went to a place that was just like, you just go to that school. That's the next place you go to. And it's not going to be that way. So it's a different thing altogether. So we'll see. I don't know. I hope like my youngest is going to be the competitive one that like wants to win. My youngest is the competitive one that I think wants everybody to win with her. So it is kind of an amazing thing to kind of watch. And then when they argue and fight, it's kind of a crazy thing. So, but we'll see how it goes.
Sounds like we're all on board. Everybody, we're trying to make everybody better, which is great.
Yeah. 100%.
I'll check this out, David.
I think it says it in the reading today. Just be a little better than your parents were. Just give them a little bit better life than you had. I mean, that's your best reference point, right? Like I did like that part about the reading, and I think I even highlighted it from last year when I read it. If you're going to compete with anyone, we should tell our kids compete with yourself.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. Make this summer better than last summer. That's where my mind's at right now. It's always that.
All right,
make it better than our last one.
Let's get that -9 up to a +9. bring Ryan's 3 up to a 6.5. Is that doable, Ryan?
Could be maybe a 5.5 for right now. We'll get
Everybody,
there. It's okay.
everybody send a video to Ryan.
Don't do
Just
that.
chatting him up.
Don't do that.
I'm an over under 7 today. That's where I'm at.
Oh man! All right,
All right, I gotta go. The sun's
see you
out.
guys tomorrow. Love you guys. Everybody have a great day. Mugs and coffee and 1% better every day.
All right, dudes. See ya.
What am I thinking?
Please.
See you guys later.